Today's video was sponsored by Storyblocks Video. It has always been a dream of mine to own a motorized slider, but I've always known them as things that costed like thousands of dollars, so I never went out and got one. But this one here is a carbon fiber slider, motorized, with Parallax control, and is not made by some oddly branded knockoff. This is made by Konova, a very reputable slider company in Korea, and it's $249. Very affordable price, and it's not even for like an aluminium slider. They went straight to carbon fiber. There's two components to this kit. The slider itself is called the P1 slider. Here I have the 60cm version. And the motorized motion control system is called the S2. So that price tag includes the P1 slider and the S2. That S2 motor is actually an attachment, so you can actually remove the motor that you can't really see right now because I've set it up in a way that the motor is facing me, but you can remove the motor and use the slider without the motor as you would with any conventional slider. The slider itself is very smooth, and I also really like that it has a cart brake. It's a pretty standard thing to have on sliders, but I do know a few sliders that don't have it. It natively has a 1/4" male thread, which I wish was a 3/8" inch because typically you would pop a tripod head on this before mounting your camera on it. But let's talk about the motor for a moment. The motor actually attaches directly onto the cart, so that's different from some other sliders that have a motor on one end of the slider that drives a belt that moves the cart. This is a motor that drives itself along a stationary belt along the side of the slider. Konova also ships this slider with a belt that is way much longer than you need it, which is why I have this wrapped up dangling excess belt on the end of my slider, but if that bothers you, you can always cut it off and you would still have enough belt left for a complete replacement belt. The motor drive system is powered by Sony MP batteries, which go right onto the control unit. There is also the option to power it through micro USB, and the control unit is connected to the motor via a Cat7 cable. So it is your typical Ethernet cable. This one cable controls and sends power from the control unit to the motor. I wonder if it works with other cables. This is a Cat5e cable. It works. Okay, so you don't have to use a Cat7 cable. So when you power it on, the first thing it's going to tell you to do is to define the start and end points at the slider, because the motor itself doesn't really know where the slider starts and ends, and that's to prevent this from happening. Yeah, so this is point A and point B. And then you have the option to drive the slider manually with a selectable speed. So for example, right now it is at 53% speed. Or you can program the slider to automatically drive itself from point A to point B and dial in a duration, exactly how long it takes for itself to go from point A to point B. You can also have it on loop, so when it reaches one end, it's just going to keep tracking back and forth. Anytime now. There we go. But one thing to keep in mind, the start and end points reset every single time you power the unit back on again. I just kind of wish it would remember the previous A and B point settings, given you can still manually redefine the start and end points later on in the settings if you do not need to use the full length of the slider. I just think if it remembered the previous start and end points, it would save you quite a bit of time during setup. The motor is also not the most silent motor. Even when it's not moving, say if I power it on right now, there's a very faint buzzing sound, so you might want to be mindful of the motor noises if you are recording sound on set. But it's also really nice that they give you the option to do speed ramping, so it gently increases the speed when you start moving, and when you want it to stop, it gradually reduces it to a halt. It helps make the motion more natural and saves the footage from jerking back and forth when you start and stop the motion. It's also super cool that there is a parallax system built into the slider, so you basically tilt this rod here, there are two locks on it, to adjust the magnitude of the parallax effect. But basically what it does is give the camera this radial panning motion as it tracks along the slider. And when you get it just right, you can very easily get the parallax effect with very little effort. Your subject stays in the same part of the frame while your background is kind of moving around it. It's a very pleasing effect, and it gives your footage a very dynamic element to it. Speaking of dynamic footage though, if you happen to need some but don't have the time to shoot them yourself, you can easily get some through our sponsor, Storyblocks Video. They have got an incredible collection of stock footage that's really easy to search from, and you can use them at your disposal anywhere you like, including YouTube. Subscribing to their unlimited video plan is very affordable, and you get unlimited downloads of anything in the video member library, which is studio quality footage up to 4K, plus a collection of fully customizable After Effects and Apple Motion templates that can easily add production value to your content. Click the first link below to learn more about Storyblocks Video. So this parallax system, in combination with its auto looping feature, I can already see this as a great B camera setup for shooting talking heads or interviews. Because then you pretty much have a camera that drives itself and is capable of executing a parallax move. But this parallax system is both a blessing and a curse. Although the parallax works, due to the way the parallax system is constructed, it gives the base plate a lot of wobble. There's really no way to tighten it, but for the most part, if you just leave it to do its thing, it doesn't really cause too many issues, but sometimes that wobble can transfer into the footage, particularly if the system has to fight gravity, for example, when the camera's at a sharp tilt. Obviously, that is not good news given how useful that parallax system is. A sort of makeshift solution I have for now is to just keep pushing against the pan bar, just applying pressure on it, and that stabilizes any wobble that might happen as a result of the loose construction. And the motor is actually a very strong motor, so luckily it can handle that extra force. And if we look on the side of the motor again, you will see two shutter release ports. Those are for time-lapse. The S2 system has a built-in time-lapse mode. It lets you dial in how many shots you would like to fire off as it gradually moves it from its start to end point. Again, that's a big value add there because you don't have to rely on external intervalometers if you wish to do a time-lapse with this slider. Plus, the built-in intervalometer takes into account the actual movement of the slider itself, and it does most of the math for you. Now, Konova did not pay me a single cent to do this review, but this combo really does offer amazing functionality at an extremely affordable price. And although the wobbly parallax construction is a bit of a drawback, it still has exceeded my expectations overall for a $250 motion control system. So that's my review of the Konova P1 and S2. If you enjoyed it, do consider subscribing for more videos just like this, and I will see you in the next video. But until then, here's another video of mine, YouTube things you should watch, or if you don't like a computer telling you what to watch, here's one of my latest videos.